Churachandpur, President's General Headquarters, Aizol, Pupo Lalchan Hima and Puzaudinga, leaders from the MPC, Pulet Zamang and Hauneo, Chairman and Secretary of the Kuki Black Day Committee, my colleagues in the Kuki in P, Manipur, the Kuki in P, the KSO, distinguished guests from far and near, brothers and sisters. It is indeed a privilege for me to address you here on this solemn occasion. With humility and abiding reverence, we are gathered here to reflect upon, to remember, to honor, and pay homage to all the innocent victims of the Kuki genocide, whose lives were taken in the most dreadful manner, and to also comfort those who have survived the nightmarish ordeal. We are here today in somber remembrance of the genocide and the 25 years that have passed since then. As we pay tribute to the victims, both the living and those who have died, we also salute the unbreakable spirit of our people, to which we owe the survival and the renewal of our community. We are all here to remember and to give each other strength. For remembrance is the most powerful weapon against genocide. The ethnic cleansing unleashed by the SAHNIT-NI upon the Kukis from the year 1992 to 97, which resulted in the systematic elimination of more than 1,000 innocent Kukis, destruction of 360 villages, and more than a lakh rendered homeless and displaced. The sheer brutality of it all qualifies the SAHNIT-NI-led Kuki genocide as one of the bloodiest genocides in the history of modern India. In commemorating the dead, we are also inspired by the triumph of the human spirit given to us by those who have survived. We do so in renewed commitment to one another as one people and as one nation. The event that brings us here today and upon which we'll deeply be reflecting upon for the next 2 days have everything to do with our future and the people we strive to be. We are shaped by our heroes and our villains, our triumphs and failures, and in the manner in how we react to adversity as a community, and how we'll face inevitable adversities that are coming, and how we respond to unseen and new challenges. Today, as we solemnly bow to the memory of the victims of the Kuki genocide, we cannot help but recall the fact that the persecution and the ultimate genocide followed a carefully concocted strategy which sought to annihilate the Kukis with a sinister design to seize their lands. The hundreds of innocent brothers and sisters who fell prey to a crime whose brutality was beyond description were killed only because they were Kukis and nothing else. The crime was designed minutely and thought out well in advance, pursued a clear goal to take possession of the land, the property, and the age-old heritage by exterminating the original owner of the land. Genocide does not happen in a vacuum. The Kuki genocide was a culmination of hostility towards the Kukis spanning across the decades. The perpetrators committed a horrendous crime with impunity, seeking to once and for all exterminate the Kukis as a political factor. 48 years after the world said never again, in response to the horror of the genocide perpetrated by the Nazis, one of the bloodiest massacre of innocent people, the Zopi, massacre took place on the 13th September 1993 in Tamenglong district of Manipur. The infamous carnage in which 88 innocent Kuki were slaughtered like animals were truly scenes from hell, written on the darkest pages of our history. The unbridled brutality was one never witnessed, seen or heard before. Another 20 innocent Kukis were obliterated in Galnel, Ningthut, and Santing on that fateful day, bringing the total head count to 108. A perfect example of the state administration's helplessness and paralysis was the September 13 massacre of innocent Kukis. Hence, the central and the state government then were equally culpable for their utter failure to protect the lives and the security of the Kuki people. The Zopi massacre will always stand out as a symbol of the Kuki genocide, and it will always point to that reality. The images of what took place in Zopi and elsewhere will forever remain etched in our conscience and our consciousness. The haunting memories continue to stir deep emotions within us, one of revulsion, grief, pain, and utmost sorrow. Thus, the 25th anniversary of the genocide is an important occasion on which to remember and mourn for the lives that we have lost, and also to show our solidarity with survivors and renew our commitment that it should never, ever happen again. Historical clarity is a duty of a memory that we cannot escape. Behind the words, never again, there is a story whose truth must be told in full, no matter how uncomfortable. In reflecting on the past 25 years, it is my ardent hope that we take away not only some deeper insight, but also a renewed recognition that we must never be complacent or content to simply memorialize the legacy of the genocide. Rather, we must renew our endeavors to put right the legacy of the past injustice. The immensity of the task may be daunting, but our kinship and affinity can strengthen our resolve and our courage as a community and as a nation. I express the utmost confidence that we would rise to the occasion when push comes to a shove. We cannot change or undo what had happened, but it is our duty and mission to honor the sacrifices of our brothers and sisters, to recall the horror, to pray, and to seek the justice unceasingly for the victims of the Kuki genocide, and also issue a call to end all genocide that continues till today around the world. The horror of those 6 years lives on and resonates in our society and in us till today. The genocide unleashed by the NSCNI on the Kukis were moments of truth and moments of reflection for the Kuki community and the Kuki nation. It was our moment in history which challenged our very survival and values as a people, as a community, and as a nation. The commemoration of the Black Day is not only about the past, but it is also about the future. It is not only about the Kukis, but also of others who find themselves vilified and scapegoated because of who they are. The erection of the 3 monoliths here today is to keep and preserve the memories of the victims and to put across in clear and certain terms that every victim of the genocide has a name, and they are not just numbers. On this 25th year of the Kuki genocide, we recall that as a people and as a nation, we were not ready to undergo those hardships, neither psychologically nor in terms of organization degree then. Because we never thought that those who constantly invoke the name of the Lord Jesus Christ were capable of committing such barbarity. But, Takchapa, by the grace of the Almighty, we rose to the occasion, and as one people, we threw a spanner in the work of the evil man heading the organization who sought to lay upon us their own version of the Nazis' final solution. We survived. We have not only survived, but became stronger and more alive to the realities which surround us and confront us as a community in this ethnic cauldron of Manipur. The 13th September is not just a symbolic date. It is a very important date. It is the darkest day in our history, a day with far-reaching ramification. It is clear that the Kuki genocide was not initiated and put to an end in one day. It is very much alive, as far as both the government at the center and the state refuses to acknowledge it and continues its policy of utter denial. We are convinced that the denial of a crime constitutes the continuation of that very crime. Only recognition and condemnation can prevent repetition of such crimes in the future. 25 years is short or long, depending on which side you stand. But there is no justification for false moral equivalence. The passage of time should not obscure the facts, lessen the responsibility, or turn victims into villains. The SAHNIT-NI-led Kuki genocide was in complete contravention of Article 21, right to life and personal liberty, a fundamental right, and right to property, Article 31, a constitutional right enshrined in the Constitution of India. In this regard, the Kuki in Manipur had submitted a number of memorandums to successive governments at the center. The indifferent attitude of the government towards the killing of thousands of Kukis in the infamous Kuki genocide is clearly reflected in the fact that even after more than 2 decades, no one has ever been charged or no organization has been indicted for this sordid crime against humanity. The indifferent attitude adopted by the central government raises one very pertinent question. Are the Kukis expandable? At the same time, I publicly reaffirm, as the General Secretary of Kuki in Manipur, we do not consider the Nagas as our enemy. The Kukis are not against any community and does not harbor hatred or animosity against anyone. Let me put on record by stating that there was never a Naga-Kuki conflict. There was only an SAHNIT-NI-led Naga aggression on innocent Kukis from the year 1992 to 1997. It is the long-standing demand of the Kuki in Manipur that justice should be served to the victims of the genocide without any further ado. We should not forget that it is our bounden duty to be the voice of those brothers and sisters who had been ruthlessly silent 25 years ago. It is our moral obligation to be the voice which continues to cry out on their behalf until justice is done. And the perpetrators of this heinous crime against humanity are fittingly prosecuted and punished as per the law of the land. So today I call upon each and every individual seated here, present here, to take a pledge that we will not rest, we will not stop until justice is delivered to the victims of the Kuki genocide of 1992 to 1997. In the end, as the American writer Louis McMaster rightly said, the dead cannot cry out for justice. It is the duty of the living to do so for them. Thank you.
Thank you to Roubul Pudaite, General Secretary, Kuki in Manipur, for the message. May I now invite H. Dongel, former President, KSO General Headquarters, for the message.